So one question that I wanted to ask, particularly in relation to the patient we operated today, rather two questions now to the entire panelists, and I would like one by one everyone to give the comment. With this BMI and type 1 diabetes, would you like to give the newly available drug like GLP-1 agonist, semaglutide, or would you subject this patient to bariatric surgery straight away? Because for the last 2 years, her hemoglobin A1C was worsening, her weight was increasing despite exercise and dietary modification. Her insulin doses were being increased as well. Would you still like to give a trial of semaglutide in this patient or not? One question. The second question is, immediately now in the post-op hours, we can't switch off the insulin because she's a type 1 diabetic. So what is the protocol in your institutes or centers in such patients? Do you half the insulin? Do you use regular insulin, or you use the ACT Rapid? So I would like Hassam, please, to start from you, and then rest of you can follow and give your opinion on that.
Thank you, Atif. Until now, I'm not really hot to operate patients with type 1 diabetes. And I tell my patients that there is no sufficient data till present to support this. It is only done under IRB, so I don't operate on type 1 diabetes. If patients have really morbid obesity with type 1, then I will go for that, but I don't go for type 1 with lower BMI to operate, since in my opinion, we don't have till now a solid data to support this. For the protocol of insulin, we give in the first 24 hours the rapid insulin, and we follow with the endocrinologist will follow the patient and the decreasing the insulin. For type 2 diabetes, even those who are using insulin, you will be amazed that in 1, 2, or 3 days, they may stop their insulin. So it is very important to be very close to the endocrinologist to stop the anti-diabetic medications whenever needed.
Okay, Dr. Safwan Tawa, nice to see you here. Please give your opinion on these two questions.
Thank you very much. Actually, IFSO has recommended operating on patients with type 1 diabetes if they have serious comorbidities back in 2012. And it's there on IFSO's website. There's not enough data, probably I would agree, solid data, but the recommendation is there. And I have done it for I would say 25 patients or 24 patients so far, explaining to them that there is not enough data, but one of my patients was taking, I probably won't believe it, I can send you the data. It was taking 1,500 units of insulin a day. And I'm not joking. And his sugar was never below 300. And he was taking 12 other medications. He couldn't sleep properly because there was not very much overweight, but I don't know, he had some respiratory problems. And 8 months after the procedure, he was on 10 units insulin with a sugar of 95. Probably that's an extreme example, but I had quite a few others who were on 90 to 150 insulin, and they did well. I don't think patients with one insulin will respond to medications. From my humble practice and from what I read, I don't do it routinely, but yes, I do offer it for patients who are fed up with everything else and they are not improving. Insulin resistance does help. Does respond well in my limited experience to bariatric procedure. Yes.
Then, would you give your comments on operating on type 1 diabetes?
But type 1 diabetes is just like Haytham said, it's magic. Patients will stop medication between 2 days to 7 days to 2 weeks maximum. And there is some, actually there is in the literature evidence that biochemically, type 2 diabetes ends immediately on the table. When you do the procedure, finish the bypass, biochemically the patient will wake up without biochemical diabetes. It will take him a few days to a couple of weeks to be clinically diabetes free, but biochemically he is diabetes free just post-operative. Yes, the result, just like FM said, is staggering with type 2 diabetes.
Yes, Chetan, would you like to give your experience with us on operating on type 1 diabetics?
Again, thank you. So I have type 1 are rare and very selective. So I have also done only on one. But if you actually look at the world literature, there are only less than 300 patients reported till date operated bariatric surgery on type 1 diabetics. And again, if you look at systematic reviews from 6 years ago and now, in those days, people were doing Roux-en-Y, but the trend now is going more towards sleeve. And I think we all agree that for type 1 diabetics, bariatric surgery does not cure diabetes as like in type 2, but it does improve the insulin dosage dramatically. I think only post-op care, what is published and what people have shared is that these patients are at higher risk of some hypoglycemic attack. And interestingly, they are high risk of developing DKA as well. So you do need to keep an eye for DKA. So I think these are the 2 points compared to type 2 diabetics, different in type 1 diabetics. We can't hear you, Atif.
Yeah, thank you. Mohammad Kirman Sarabi, you are doing a lot of good work by publishing scientific data on standardizing the mini gastric bypass. So you had this question in your recent survey as well. Would you like to share what the surgeons all around the world decided upon doing surgery, doing MGB in particular in type 1 diabetics, or still it was undecided?
For type 1 diabetes or type 2?
No, on type 1. What was the opinion of the surgeons for the MGB survey which you were doing, or rather are doing these days?
Okay, I think as Chetan said, it's not curative for type 1 diabetes, but can decrease the insulin needed in this patient and can be a good option for diabetic patients, especially in diabetic patients with morbid obesity.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask Mohammad Karman Sarabi, the research you are doing on indications for MGB, how many surgeons are in that group and how many of them say that let's do MGB in type 1? Or every one of them, or there was somebody who was saying, no, don't do MGB in type 1 diabetes? Okay, Imran Abbas, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Sir, I hear your question, and definite as Hassam, Professor Taha, and also all of these panelists, Chetan and Kirman, has mentioned, because we are working in Dubai, and according to Dubai Health Authority guidelines, so we cannot do surgery in type 1 with low BMI. I can do surgery in morbid obese, just like a morbid obese patient, not for type 1. So if patient is 40 plus, BMI 40 plus, yes, I did only one case till this time with the type 1, and also I did mini gastric bypass, and you can't believe, amazing result. I have no idea. Also, I have discussed, I remember, with Professor Rutledge regarding this type 1 3-4 years ago, I think. So at that time, Professor also has mentioned, so we don't know. So there are many, so we can, in future, maybe we will see changes after this bariatric surgery in these patients. So there is mitochondria, I don't know, there is normal, this microflora and different things that will be highlighted in future. Yes, sir, it is amazing result, but still, because I am practicing in Dubai, so I cannot do surgery for type 1 in low BMI, but as a morbid obese, yes, I did only one case and amazing result. And now patient is using about 10 units only, and she was using 153 units before surgery. And again, that sugar was more than 300. And also she proteinuria and different issues like this. Now she's okay, she's fine, she's lose weight. And definitely regarding your question about MGB or sleeve gastrectomy, So as also Chetan has mentioned, so because our target in these cases is losing weight, again it is patients, you must select the patient like a morbid obese. So definitely I will go for MGB if patient is morbid obese.
Okay, thank you, Imran. Now I will move to Dr.
Atif, just a quick answer to the question you asked to Karmana Saravi, you know, about that survey of MGB in type 1 diabetes. I remember because I wrote part of that article. So your question was how many people agreed? So 43 out of the 57 surgeons agreed that MGB is suitable in type 1 diabetes. So 75%, I think, agreed.
Thank you, Chetan. Now I need to take some comments from Dr. K.S. Kolar, and at the end of the session, I would like Dr. Asim Shabir, because I call him the encyclopedia of bariatric surgery. So Dr. Asim, you will be commenting at the end. So Dr. Kolar, we all know that you have an extensive experience in MGB after Dr. Rutledge. And what is your opinion about doing it in type 1 diabetes?
Actually, what I have seen, I have not done a lot of cases. We have done about 12 cases with type 1. My endocrinologist friends referred me these patients, and they are all doing great. Actually, MGB, helps these patients by improving the microvascular supply everywhere in the body, may it be kidneys, and you talk about any organ. So eventually, it helps these patients, but we are taking up only those who are morbidly obese, not like low BMI with type 1, because then the patient is not going to be very happy, because it doesn't, in a way, it doesn't cure their diabetes. Yes.
Thank you. Before I ask Dr. Asim Shabir, that from this discussion, I think if a procedure needs to be offered for these type 1 diabetics, it should be a reversible one. So if something happens, we can reverse the patient to normal anatomy. With sleep, we lose this chance. Because I've seen some severe hypoglycemia incidents after sleep gastrectomy, then developing Barrett esophagus. This is my personal opinion, but I have also read Roger C. Luciani probably has a paper on type 1 diabetes from France. I might be misremembering the person, but Asim will here help me about the available data in the literature about doing bariatric/weak metabolic surgery in type 1 diabetics. Asim, over to you.
Thanks, Atif. Thanks, everybody. And I would agree with all the comments made here. So if we look and dive into pathophysiology of disease, one is insulin resistance, the other is insulin deficiency. Giving GLP-1 analogs can work the pancreas a little harder for a while, but it may not show great improvement in management of diabetes patients who are type 1 diabetics. So the question of semaglutide and all this in type 1 diabetics, it may improve, but you would not be able to achieve your glycemic goals. As far as surgery is concerned, bariatric surgery, the published literature basically shows that it is helpful. The unanswered question in published literature is, does this equate to improve long-term decrease in end organ damage? If I refer you to a paper which was published in Diabetes Care, I think in 2008, and it talked about similar impact of type 1 and type 2 diabetes on cardiovascular mortality in middle subjects. So this is published in Diabetes Case already, Diabetes in 2008, which means, and if you look at the UK PDS trial and the rest of the trials, hyperglycemia is the main issue that people develop microvascular complications, and that leads to trouble. So if a type 1 diabetic patient is taken, you can reduce the weight of that patient. You require less amount of insulin, which then means a better control of glycemia for that patient, which then translates into long-term benefits. So it makes sense to operate on morbidly obese patients with type 1 diabetes and as Chetan and the rest pointed out correctly, you need to be aware of the consequences. So you need to have an endocrinologist on your side who can then manage the glycemic needs of those patients, because they can develop DKA, they will develop increasing amounts of hypotensive episodes as they continue to lose weight, but at the same time, you can't let them have very high weight. So the line you tread is very simple. So it makes sense to operate on these patients.
Thank you, Asim. Anyone from the panelists if wants to add any comments so that I can go to Dr. Rutledge for finishing this session? So before Dr. Rutledge finishes up this session or sums up this session, the next presentation is on bariatric challenges, especially after post-MGB by our resident Dr. Shahbaz Kasi, who is also our nutritionist in my bariatric team. So Dr. Rutledge, can you sum up this session?
Well, I just make one comment. One of my favorite patients was a type 1 diabetic. As you know, I've traveled around the world and I've operated with many of the people on the panel here. I was operating in the state of Michigan, teaching a surgeon there, and I didn't know it, but the scrub nurse who was operating with me while I was there teaching came to have surgery with me. She was a type 1 diabetic on an insulin pump, and she's now about 15 years post-op, and her type 1 diabetes is well under control. I've probably done about another 10 type 1 diabetics, and I do it both for thin as well as heavy obese patients. There's also good data from Taiwan and other places that resolution of diabetes makes a tremendous difference, and particularly weight loss alone in type 1 diabetics. It turns out in the past, we didn't have obese type 1 diabetics. Now that we can control type 1 diabetes, we are having obese diabetics. They're frequently not morbidly obese, but they are obese in many cases because the ability to control the insulin is available, and now they can eat junk food and become obese. So I would keep your eyes open for this. And I think that in selected patients, it can be tremendously valuable. I think it's really exciting to talk to the group here today. It's great compliments to Dr. Atif to do such a good job of getting us all together. And I would just remind you of one of the recent studies from India where they looked at weight regain in a series of over 1,000 patients. And what they found was the weight regain of sleeve versus MGB, for example, was about 10 times higher. And the weight regain for Roux-en-Y in this reported series from India was 2 to 3 times higher. So I think that we need to continue to work and improve the operation, but I think there's a good foundation. And I think Dr. Atif did a superb job today of organizing it, as well as demonstrating an excellent MGB on that young woman. I expect she's going to do great.
Thank you, Dr. Rajlan, and I should thank every panelist who joined at such a short notice. I know that, but there were some few unavoidable circumstances that we have to organize this workshop in a hurry, and I know there were many deficiencies. Hopefully, I will cover them up next time. And I should individually thank Dr. Safan Tawa for being here, Dr. Muhammad Karman Sarawi, Dr. Imran Abbas, Dr. Haitham Al-Fawal, Dr. K.S. Kular, Dr. Muzela, and am I missing anyone? Dr. Asim Shabir is there, Dr. Ghulam Siddiq, and the president of PSMBS, Dr. Mumtaz Meher. Chetan, yes, my dear buddy Chetan. So Chetan, you are Cheetah basically.
Polar also.
Okay, so now we are going to move on to the next presentation that is on bariatric nutrition, which is very important. And we will be sharing our lessons, experiences that we had at PIMS, and we will be sharing you with a case of a post-MGB patient who had a hypoalbuminemia and how we corrected it without using IV supplements. So this is just a sneak preview of that presentation. So Dr. Shahbaz, please over to you.